Do we feel sorry for those up north? Get this beautiful snow? She says no. But we're down here in sunny Florida. The samurai's coming down from the mountains now. Hi, I am Terry Atkins with Bonsai by the Samurai. Welcome to my home. Yesterday I attended a meeting with the Cypress Lakes Bonsai Club, and we had our regular monthly meeting, which is the second Thursday of each month from 12 noon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We discussed Japanese black pines and junipers, and we actually talked about some of the myths and such connected with junipers, and give you an idea of what this place looks like. This is the side entrance that we go in. Here we are walking up to the door. Scanning down the walk, the other part of the clubhouse over there. Looking at the garden walk there.
Because of him, the club folded. So it's really
Thanks, Paul. It wasn't hard.
It wasn't hard. So anyway, he's been doing bonsai for 15, 20 years, a lot of experience, and we're glad to have him back in the club to help us out here, to help you, which is what it's all about. We do share our knowledge, and that helps you understand why your trees grow and how you can keep them alive. And I will commend you all that you have learned your lessons and you're able to keep your trees growing and thriving, and that's wonderful. It is nice to look out and see green on all your trees, unless they're supposed to be bulbed at this time of the year, deciduous. So thank you for that. Our agenda today is going to do a little bit. Today's going to talk about February weather, things we should and shouldn't be doing in February. I'm going to talk about our black pines. Then Dave's going to give us an introduction into the junipers, and we're going to break into groups, and we're going to work on trees in groups. Okay? And then after the groups, we'll get back together and we'll show what we did while we did the group work. Okay? And you should be able to show us the finished work. And then we're going to review and wrap up and have our raffle. We got tons of stuff for, raffle. So we'll pick a number and we'll just hold your ticket. Just come and collect it. And we may do 2 drawings.
Trimming. Now's a good time to be trimming on our junipers, any of our deciduous trees that have dropped their leaves, like our Japanese maples and such. If your deciduous trees still have leaves on them, I recommend you go ahead and take those leaves off, because they need to have at least a nap before they start budding out again. And they should have dropped their leaves. We've had enough cold weather for that. But if they didn't for some reason, I'd recommend removing what few leaves you have on there. The tree should not spend its energy nursing last year's leaves at the expense of next year's leaves. So take those off. Once they're off, now your deciduous trees are easy for wiring. You can see the branches. You can get to them easy. Your junipers, now's a good time to be wiring. Removing old wire if you need to, and adding new wire. Do that kind of trimming and pruning. On the pruning side of the house, believe it or not, we actually are entering into a window where some heavier pruning can happen on some kinds of trees. Specifically for those of us that have larger collections, if I wait till the perfect window to do my pruning and trimming, I will have to be awake 24/7 for about 3 weeks. There's not enough time in the day. I have to stretch that window out to its fullest extent to get through all of my trees that I really want to get to. But certain trees right now, we can start doing some major pruning on. If it's, let's say junipers would be an example, we can get there. They're starting to wake up. Our deciduous trees, you really want to hold off on those until you see those buds swelling and the new growth is getting ready to pop. Some of you have that happening already. Yeah. So you go through your garden, you see those buds swelling, we can go ahead and start doing some larger pruning on those and start making sure they're where we want them to be. And in the repotting side of the house, it's possible as well. However,
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
You recording all this?
yeah. Here, you want to hit him with this?
Tomorrow I'll be 89.
Well, happy birthday.
Amen.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
The club gave him this Cascade pot and also gave him this parrot's beak to make a nice cascade. Here he is sitting at the meeting with Becky, relaxing. Everybody enjoying the fudge and cakes and candies. And I brought in this dwarf Barbados cherry. He had given me a cutting back in 2013.
The Japanese black pine is what they call the king of bonsai. Now Terry had one that qualified as a king. How long did you have that, Terry? 20 years?
28 years.
28 years, and the trunk on it was massive. And it stood this tall. Big Japanese black pine. And the only way to get a Japanese black pine with a trunk that thick is to have it 28 years and buy it from someone who had it for 10 years before that probably. So it just takes time to thicken them. So there are things that you can do to thicken a trunk, which we've already done, and that's wire them, put wire on them, bend them and twist them. That forces the trunk to increase in width as well. Japanese black pines are what they call a two-needle pine. If you look at the needles, the needle cluster, there's mostly 2 needles per cluster. Sometimes you'll find 3, but they're mostly a 2-needle pine. Flush pine versus a white pine, which is a single flush pine. Now, why is it called a double flush pine? It means that in a single growing season, it's long enough that you'll get buds on it twice a year. Okay? The Japanese black pine come from around the coast of Japan versus up in the mountains where the white pines grow, and thus they don't have a long enough season, the white pines, to get 2 flushes of buds on it. So they tend to be a little slower growing. So you can make a Japanese black pine really grow out, flush out a lot of new growth in a single season. Because
Here's that pine at Agresti Gardens and me sitting next to it. Yeah, Dave visited once up there with us. It's getting a lot of company now. This is how it really got fat, by being in that container. That's what it looked like when I first styled it getting here to Florida. This is what it looks like today with an aggressive daughter there.
Pine is the king of bonsai. You can say the Japanese maple is the princess of bonsai. The juniper is kind of like the utility player. I mean, they can be whatever you want it to be. Well, there's a killer in our room, but he's come around. He's working on it, and he's actually a grower now of juniper, not a killer. But anyway, the juniper has got such flexibility for the beginning bonsai artist as well as the accomplished. The Japanese masters will work on junipers, and you can do some amazing things. You can get the thick trunk version. You can go off to literati. You can do cascades. You can shape the foliage on a juniper like clay and make the tree of your dream out of juniper. So junipers are an ideal tree because they have such a wide range of use. Not only is it
Every nest has 500 of them.
exactly, they do.
Yep.
And so much like the ficus is in the tropical world, junipers are in the coniferous world, in that I can usually tell you a juniper when I see one. Can I tell you the variety of it and the species? Probably not, because guess what? There's like 60 there's 60 known, and 50 sometimes how you count them types. What I try to do today, when you get a chance later in the workshop, the table I set up over here, I brought a smattering of each one of those is a different juniper or cedar or cypress. Because as you work your way up the family tree, they come from the same family. But the junipers, so I've got a little bit of everything over there. Most of them are marked. If it isn't marked, just ask me what it is. But I was going around looking at what we have in the room here, which is sort of typical for zone 9, 10 like we are. We've got a lot of Parsonii. Yeah. They're junipers. They're in the Chinese Juniperus family. They're Chinese junipers. But the variety is going to be Parsonii, or Parsons juniper. The other one that's very popular is the Procumbens manna. It is a dwarf Japanese garden juniper. Has a bit of a bad name in that in the 1990s, that was what was being pushed in Walmart, and at that time there was a place called Kmart and all kinds of marts, and people were buying these little bonsai trees, and they actually thought that is what a bonsai is. It has to be this little juniper, and anything else wasn't a real bonsai. And oh, by the way, they were usually dead when you bought them because they had glued on rocks, and you took them home and you put them on top of your TV set because that's what you saw on TV. You know, it was in your house. You put it on the shelf along with all the other stuff. It's already dead anyway, but pretty soon all the little foliage starts falling off, and then you show up at a bonsai club saying, hey, can you save my tree? And like, that train has left the station.
Here's that group of junipers that Dave was mentioning. We'll be seeing a few of them here. Dave's not here to tell us which is which. This one got quite a prune job. This one's a tanuki. We'll see a little bit later, and it's time for the raffle and for the comedic Rod. There goes Rod. Walked away with 2 pots. Yes, this is the guy that got my pot. Here we go. Another pot selection.
As soon as she finishes picking out, I'll draw another.
She got the tree that she wanted.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Try not to kill it.
Try not to kill that little juniper, huh?
Juniper I get, but at least this one's $5.
Okay,
Yeah, this
here
is
we
the
go.
guy that
Here
won
we
all
go.
the pots.
Everybody,
He's the
sit
one
down.
picking the tickets, too.
Okay, ready? Ready. 9, 6, 7.
That's me.
There you go.
Jump
Now
up.
stop your complaining.
I will now.
Last month we came up on the very first meeting. And we called the very last one.
There goes my pot. She's looking at something else. Trying to make up her mind. Another happy winner.
So 5% work from you?
Oh, that is me.
Oh, look at her.
There goes the last good pot.
One more time.
My winner.
Here, and it'll force more growth up this way more.
Okay.
So all the energy is going to start going towards the end, and if you want to manage that and have more of them shooting out other places, then you can just either pluck the very end of it off, or you can start deciding on what length you want it to go. The longer you let this go, the thicker this branch will start getting, which may be in your design. So you got to kind of be thinking of a design in your head. Do you want a taller tree? Do you want a fatter tree? Do you want a thicker trunk? Do you?
And you know what though? The new pot's going to help me determine that.
Yep. So you might be
Because
shop for the
aesthetically,
pot first.
let's see which pot I win.
She didn't win a pot. She can dream. There's a lot of raffle items. I actually went through twice. A lot of nice pots, a lot of nice trees. But it is a raffle. Here's Michael and his Japanese black pine. Room's kind of empty, yo. 40-some members. Paul has returned, though. A lot of familiar faces out there. Ron taking the lead. Malcolm and Becky and Rod in the background. Somebody's missing. The owner of this new club tree, this Tanuki Juniper. Ernie Kowalski has passed on. Went to Canada, never came back.